You wake up some mornings and nothing feels wrong, but nothing feels right either. Your limbs feel heavier than they should. The things that used to interest you suddenly don't. And if you're like most people, you assume this is a modern problem, a side effect of screens and stress and an unnatural way of living. But here's the strange part. Brain scans of people experiencing this exact feeling show something ancient lighting up. Not a malfunction. A program. A very old one. And that raises an uncomfortable question. What if this feeling wasn't a glitch in your brain, but a tool your ancestors needed to survive? Most people believe depression is purely a modern disease, caused by isolation, comparison, and constant digital noise. It feels true. Rates of diagnosed depression have climbed sharply in industrialized nations over the last few decades. So the timeline seems to fit. Modern life, modern suffering. But that explanation has a hole in it. If depression were only a byproduct of modern living, you'd expect it to be absent, or at least rare, in small-scale societies that still live close to how your ancestors lived for hundreds of thousands of years. That's not what researchers find. Anthropologist Hagen studied mood and behavior across hunter-gatherer and small-scale societies and found something that should not exist if depression were purely a modern invention. Low mood states, withdrawal, loss of motivation, and grief-like episodes show up across cultures with no internet, no office jobs, and no social media at all. Whatever this is, it's older than civilization itself. So if it isn't new, what is it actually for? This is where evolutionary psychology offers a theory that sounds almost backwards at first. Some researchers, including psychiatrist Randolph Ness, propose that low mood functioned like an internal warning light. Not a malfunction, but a signal telling your ancestors to stop, conserve energy, and reassess a losing situation before wasting more resources chasing it. Picture an ancestor in a small tribe who has just lost status after a failed hunt, or been excluded from a group decision. Continuing to push forward with the same strategy could mean wasted energy in a world where every calorie mattered for survival. A drop in motivation, in this context, isn't weakness. It's a brake pedal. Slow down before you waste resources on something that isn't working. There's another layer to this most people never consider. Tribal life came with something modern life often lacks: immediate social response. If someone in a hunter-gatherer band became withdrawn, others noticed within hours, not weeks. Anthropological accounts of foraging societies describe groups physically gathering around a struggling member, sharing food, sitting close, talking through the night. The response to low mood wasn't isolation. It was instant social repair. Here's the counterintuitive twist. The biological signal for low mood may not have evolved to make you suffer alone. It may have evolved to be answered by other people. Your ancestors' brains were built inside a feedback loop, where dropping mood triggered closeness from the tribe, and that closeness helped resolve whatever triggered the drop in the first place. Now compare that to your environment today. The same ancient warning system still fires inside your brain. But the response it was built to receive, immediate physical closeness, shared attention, a tribe gathering around you, rarely shows up anymore. You might send a text. You might scroll past someone else's pain in seconds. The signal still activates exactly like it did for your ancestors, but the social machinery that once answered it has quietly disappeared. This may explain something researchers have noticed for years. Loneliness and depression are tightly linked, even though depression is usually described as an internal, individual problem. A study published in the journal Proceedings of the Royal Society found social isolation reliably predicts and worsens depressive symptoms across cultures, almost as if the brain is still waiting for a response that modern life has stopped providing. So when you feel that heaviness, that pulling inward, your brain may not be broken. It may be running code written for a world of 20 to 50 people who would have noticed you were struggling, and responded by sitting down beside you. Your ancestors weren't necessarily happier, but they were rarely answered by silence. The feeling itself hasn't changed in thousands of years. What changed is who shows up when it happens.